Picture clocking in every day, uniform on, quota to hit, paycheck waiting at the end of the week. Pretty normal life, right? Now picture that uniform is white leather trousers, a scarlet waistcoat, a green coat, and a sash made from melted down kitchen pots shaped into rat medallions. And the quota is a few hundred live rats, caught with your bare hands. This was a real job, for centuries. It starts with the Black Death. In the 1300s, the plague wiped out roughly a third of Europe's population. Nobody understood yet that fleas living on rats were the actual carriers. That wouldn't be confirmed for centuries, but people absolutely understood that wherever rats showed up, sickness followed close behind. So towns did the simplest thing they could think of. They started paying people to make the rats disappear. At first, this wasn't glamorous work. The earliest rat catchers were ordinary, often poor people, who realized they could get paid for something they were basically doing already, keeping vermin out of their own homes. They traveled from town to town with dogs and ferrets, crawled into sewers and grain stores, and got paid by the body. Literally, bring in the rats, collect the fee. It was dangerous, dirty, and looked down on. People avoided you in the street, but you were also one of the only things standing between a town and the next outbreak. For centuries, that's all it was. A trade society needed but didn't respect. Then, in Victorian London, one man turned it into an actual career. His name was Jack Black, and by the 1850s, he wasn't just catching rats. He had a brand, the uniform, a homemade stage he'd set up on the street where he'd open a cage of live rats and let them climb over his bare arms while a crowd watched. And according to the story he told everyone who'd listen, a royal title, Rat and Mole Destroyer to Her Majesty, appointed personally by Queen Victoria. Catching was only half his income. London at the time ran on a brutal form of entertainment called rat baiting. Dogs' time killing rats in a pit, while crowds bet on the result. The city's most notorious pit owner reportedly bought around 26,000 live rats a year, and catchers like Black were the ones supplying him. But Black noticed something else. Every so often, he'd pull out a rat that wasn't the usual gray-brown, white, spotted, oddly colored. Instead of sending those into the pit, he started breeding them. He sold these fancy rats as pets to fashionable London society. By some accounts, his customers included Beatrix Potter, decades before she'd write about a very different kind of small animal, and Queen Victoria herself. So look at his actual week. Show up, hit a live capture quota, supply the bedding pits, run a side business breeding specialty pets for the upper class, put on a costume and perform for paying crowds. That's not an occasional gross-out gig. That's a multi-revenue stream career. Here's the twist, though. Historians still argue about whether the royal title was ever real. Black told people the Queen gave it to him personally. His wife, by other accounts, is the one who sewed that royal sash in their kitchen. And it wasn't only London. Big institutions hit the exact same rat problem and solved it the exact same way. A wooden ship packed with grain and rope is basically a 5-star rat hotel, so navies put rat catchers on the payroll, same as any other job on the crew list. So next time you see an exterminator's van pull up outside a house, that job has a longer resume than you'd think. It didn't start as a side hustle. It started as a response to one of the deadliest events in human history, turned into a licensed trade, and at its peak came with a costume, a royal legend, and more job security than most careers today. The rats never actually left. We just got better at hiring someone else to make the problem invisible. Back then, that was somebody's whole career.